Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, wherever in the world you're tuning into the Esports World Cup Central broadcast from. We obviously gave you the update on PUBG, and we will keep you up to date on what's happening in Rocket League, and of course, we'll let you know when ESL R1 begins. But just before I bring the gang back together again to continue our regular coverage, we've paused to have another special guest in our studio. So viewers are aware we have a lot of guests lined up over the next 2 hours, and it's my absolute pleasure to introduce another representative from Gen G. Regular, long-time viewers will remember that we spoke to another member of Gen G about their education programs, about their game academy, and now today I have the president of education, Guan Wang, joining me. Thank you so much for joining me. First of all, did I get the name right?
Yes, Trevor.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Guan, obviously, we briefly just chatted. I know we want to talk about the program, but could you help explain to some of our viewers, we've got Rocket League, PUBG, Tekken. We've got a bunch of viewers watching that maybe aren't going to be too familiar with what a president of education will be doing at Gen G.
Yeah.
So tell me about it.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. So we started our education business roughly 4 years ago, and that's about when I joined the company. We were pretty pioneering in this field, and we started to, from scratch, creating the first programs for game training, and then improve them, and then started and realized there was an incredible need in terms of people who want to work in careers in the esports ecosystem, and started to build this. So my job is to oversee all the program development and also expanding these programs in Korea, in China, and to the world. And now we are here.
I was saying to to Guan off air, but I have a lot of faith. I would believe in a South Korean organization and program more than most. And part of the reason I told Nicole this story, a joke that I heard many, many years ago was, in South Korea, if you wanted to ask for a lady's hand in marriage, you had to defeat her father in StarCraft before you could do that, right? So I know that esports goes very deep. Yeah. So what's your personal story? How did you get involved? And how do you then go to Gen G and say, let's start an education program? Because that seems like quite a big leap.
Yeah. It goes, it's a good question. It goes way back. So actually I'm first generation immigrant, and my family and I moved to Sweden when I was 10 years old. And one of my biggest hobby was to play video games. And that became kind of the first, the way for me to learn to know new friends in Sweden. So I made a lot of friends through playing, and we had LAN parties and that sort of stuff. And then in high school, I was playing Counter-Strike.
It would be in Sweden. It's yeah, of course, it's the biggest game.
Yeah, and I was competing, in an amateur kind of fashion, and then I was also part of a Chinese team and got qualified to the first World Cyber Games, which was actually held in Korea, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that was kind of the first really big international tournament. I would say kind of the birth of
you are 100%
esports.
right. I was watching at the time events like the Electronic Sports World Cup, ESWC, CGL, CPL,
CPL, Cyber Professional.
I actually competed against Fatality and Painkiller.
Wow.
So I'm very well aware as somebody that's been there. Look, from that time frame to now, I think the esports industry, I think the gaming industry has evolved and matured a lot. 20 years ago, if you were a professional gamer or aspiring to be, normally that would mean you probably were not very good in school. I think that's an old assumption.
Yeah.
I don't believe that is as true anymore.
Yeah.
But I can understand that a program like this, is this something you're looking to address? Is this a challenge to overcome? Like, do you get students that need more help if they're better at games?
Yeah, no, it's a very good question. I think in the beginning, we got most of the students who came to us were the ones who honestly struggled in school, and then the gaming part and the esports part became a motivator to them. So it became a carrot, because right, and we leveraged that to also set standards for them academically, right? If you want to continue to play, you gotta do your work.
Correct.
Right. But more and more as we develop the programs, we have not only the students now who are just struggling in school, but the ones who are doing all right, but are looking to more using kind of their esports merits to kind of bump up their their merits, right, and to get into their dream college, and especially in the United States.
I will tell you this, that was the most exciting part of what Nicole was telling me about the academy. The fact that there are a lot of people who play games, or a lot of people that could watch this show, watch any esports event, that don't know about the roles, don't know about the production side, don't know about the business side, don't know about PR, don't know how many other jobs or careers or opportunities there are. So what are some of the hurdles that maybe you faced? What are some of the things that you've tried to tackle? And then let's start looking to the future. What is the goal? Like, what is Genji hoping to accomplish with this program? But let's start first. What are the hurdles? What are the big challenges you're trying to overcome right now?
I think, first of all, there's still, to be honest, there's still a stigma. Even in Korea, there is a stigma, and also, it's not very easy for everyone to understand the connection between esports and education. For a lot of people, they look at it as two extremes and don't see them come together, right? So a lot of stakeholders were skeptical. But as soon as we started to prove that this is working, and in a way that we have very successful outcomes, like I said, students getting admitted to college, they're getting jobs, some of them becoming pros. Then that became the validation and convinced a lot of people. And then we got a lot of buy-ins from the stakeholders.
And also, I'll say this as well, it's one of these things that needs time. I understand, as the president of education, you may not have a decade or two to wait for the next generation, but I know that when I was growing up, I had to write a contract with my parents at 16 years old to be allowed to scrib. And I wrote down, I said, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, I practice with my team. In exchange, I give you straight A's in high school. And if I ever drop below an A, then you take gaming away.
It's a good contract.
It was a great contract. And it led me to this job today. But I was in a very lucky position. Not everybody's able to do that. I would consider that like a personal win. What would be one of the biggest wins or some of the biggest successes that you've seen with the education program at Genji?
I will still go back to these success cases, right? What we really pride ourselves with is when we see our students becoming successful, right? No matter if there's they're sending us letters of, how well they're doing after they've, for example, gone to the US and they're thriving there, they're playing on the varsity team, they're winning, they're making new friends. And I'm just like, wow.
It's working.
It's working, and thanks to our program, right? We made an impact. And each of these student success cases, that means a lot to us, and that's what keeps us going, getting making us even more motivated.
I would love to hear your perspective on this, because again, when we had Nicole here, she talked a little bit about the regional offices and the regional programs you have and how drastically different they are. There are different educational systems, there are different economic environments, there are different gaming habits, completely different things. So how do you tackle all of those, and what is Genji doing here in Saudi Arabia?
Absolutely. I think first of all gamers have a little bit of different intentions of what they want to achieve, right? With gaming and esports, right? So I think we are still in the process of learning more about the market here in KSA, and we are really committed to be here for the long term, right? And EWC is a really good start. We've been able to do 3 programs during this event. But over time, we'd like to establish a more permanent presence here. Spinning up an academy in partnership with the stakeholders and the partners here. To do that in a sustainable manner.
I'll tell you that's something that is very exciting to me. I'm starting to hit that age now where I'm thinking about children, and I want my kids to grow up in a digital world. Esports has been my life for 20 years. So the idea of esports back to Canada, the idea of university programs that are internationally understood and accepted and viewing things, what's the vision for Genji? What does success look like? I hate to use a business term, but what is your North Star?
That's a good one. Yeah.
What would it be?
I think we want to go broader. We want to build a real school, right? To go from an academy to school, that means it's actually a big leap. We want students who study in the school, not necessarily only limited to work in the esports industry, but more learning through the lens of gaming and esports, right? I mean, I think the subjects of math, science, English, language arts are still relevant, but the way how these subjects are taught have been the same in the past 100 years, right? And I think people should learn through what they're mostly motivated about. I want to do a math course, an analytics course in League, right? Use economics in League to, right? And because it's motivating.
Understanding the macroeconomics of Counter-Strike. I'm going to do something that is off script. I hope I'm not crossing a line, but I'm going to say this to everyone outside. What Guan Wang has just pitched is an anime storyline, right? So sponsors, backers, reach out to Guan Wang on LinkedIn. I'm sure you can find him. Let's get this anime protagonist where macroeconomics is taught through StarCraft 2 tech trees.
You got it. You got it.
Honestly, the vision you just described, I can see it being like a plot next to Haikyuu, but the difference is, I think it's believable. You know, I sincerely do. I have been fortunate enough to grow up and see the industry grow and develop. Right. And it's something it's a future I want to see because, like I said, I want to be a parent very soon, and I want my child to grow up in an academy like that or be able to have access. Guan, we are going to be moving on with our show. I want to say thank you for taking the time. This is the second time that I've spoken to Genji about a core gaming product, but it's one that I think is hugely impactful for the future. I'm going to ask you to give a shout out to camera number 1. You can speak to fans, viewers, audience, whatever you'd like to say to wrap up our conversation.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and thank you, everyone, for the support. And stay tuned for our new release and for a new presence here in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
What you don't know, I'm going to look at my boss right now. I have a lot of very influential people coming out later. Where can I send them to get in contact with you? Because I want the school to be a reality.
Yeah, I think LinkedIn, as you mentioned, is a good channel. Let's connect on LinkedIn.
my producers say he'll add you later. Just so you're aware, Guan, what we've got right now is just this very unique piece of merch that is only exclusive to our broadcast. Every guest that comes onto our show, we ask them to give us an autograph, not your credit card signature. So when you head out, we'll get you to sign that. There are some legendary names on here. We've had some Porsche Motorsport representatives, Hex and Scum from the Call of Duty world, some really big names. So I'm going to say thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you, Trevor.
I sincerely wish you the best of luck in the future endeavors with all the education programs at Genji. We're going to continue with our show. Next up, we will be joined, I'm going to try this, Rachitru? We'll find out. Content creator from Team Vitality. I may have picked the wrong country. Until then, let's have a look at the Rocket League boys from Space Station in a game of Who Is It About?
Hi, everyone. Welcome